Hey folks, welcome back. I'm your host, R.R. Slugger, and if you hadn't already noticed, I'm a pretty big fan of a toy line called LEGO Rock Raiders. Released in 1999, Rock Raiders was the first LEGO series to debut with multimedia integration in mind at launch. The company had a lot of high hopes for this theme, but despite best efforts, it was ultimately short-lived. Featuring less than a dozen standard retail sets, the High Adventure Deep Underground would come to an end the following year. But nonetheless, the development of Rock Raiders would go on to have a lasting impact on how LEGO sets and themes were designed. In the past, I've talked about how Rock Raiders influenced the introduction of the ratchet hinge system we still use today. In addition, the influence Rock Raiders had on early LEGO Star Wars sets is immeasurable. That series simply wouldn't have come out looking the way it did without several of the important molds designed for Rock Raiders. Today, though, I want to shift our focus to a particular sub-assembly found throughout all of Rock Raiders, and discuss its origins and legacy. This is the Rock Raiders lamp. The Rock Raiders lamp, or at least that's what I call it, can be found attached to all manner of vehicles in their impressive roster. Indeed, if we exclude the Mini Heroes collection, over half of the remaining Rock Raider sets feature this element. It's so ubiquitous that a set like the Hover Scout actually includes one as a spare for your other Rock Raiders vehicles. All lamps are interchangeable with one another, and I always love it when LEGO themes contain this kind of internal synergy. Rock Raiders has this in other areas as well, but let's focus on the lamps today. The subassembly itself is made up of three pieces. First, this ribbed bar with clip element made exclusively for LEGO Space back in 1985. Second, this 2x2 dish element, which debuted with the same theme in the same year. Lastly, a transparent 1x1 pip to provide a source of illumination. This element was first introduced within the world of LEGO Trains in 1980, but we wouldn't get trans neon green versions until the 90s. These three elements in this specific combination make up the Rock Raiders lamp. Sometimes we'll see sets utilize a partial assembly, even within Rock Raiders itself, but it takes all three to properly capture its essence. Now, you'd think something so internally significant to Rock Raiders specifically would live and die with its short-lived series, but you'd be mistaken. Because I'm a crazy person masquerading as a slug, I've compiled what I believe to be a complete list of every other time the Rock Raiders lamp has been used outside of Rock Raiders. You might ask, why did I do this? Anyways, in 1985, we see the earliest evidence of the Rock Raiders lamp DNA. 6931FX Star Patroller features 2/3 of what would ultimately go on to be a significant part of the Rock Raiders series. All that's missing here is a pip in the center of the dish, though its absence does lead me to believe that this was meant to be a sensor, not a lamp. In a similar vein is 6806 Surface Hopper. The operator of this vehicle is holding a very familiar looking concoction, though again, I think we're meant to see this as scanning equipment and not a source of illumination. In 1987, the Futuron monorail would shed some light on this topic, as one of the station platforms featured these overhead lamps. They're not quite constructed up to Rock Raider specs, but they're pretty functionally similar all the same. Jumping ahead to Space Police in 1993, we see these elements used again. 6852 Sonar Security features a satellite probe armed with an eponymous sonar system. Interestingly, the same series featured a set that uses a different 2/3 combination. 1969 Mini Robot features the dish and pip pieces as robotic eyes. We see these elements used to similar effect in 1995's Crater Critters. Though this set contains all the pieces you'd need to assemble a Rock Raiders lamp, the main build does not combine them in this manner. If we look at the alternate builds on the box, though, oh-ho! This one does use all three pieces in the correct combination to make the Rock Raiders lamp. It's not really using them in the right colors, and I think they're still trying to represent robotic eyes here, but it's worthy of note all the same. And before you run to the comment section to tell me, "Look, Slugger, they're not Rock Raiders lamps, they're Crater Critters lamps. Everybody knows that." No, they're not. I'm the one telling the story. Anyways, we've got one more noteworthy stop to make before we reach Planet U, and that leads us into the depths of Aquazone. 6195 Neptune Discovery Lab features yet another 2/3 combination of the requisite elements, but this time they're overtly used as a light source. This specific combo will appear again, but with that, we're all caught up to 1999's Rock Raiders. Hopefully I've demonstrated what Rock Raiders did with these three pieces was relatively uncharted territory. I don't want to overstate my case, but I think I'm justified in calling this the Rock Raiders lamp. No other set or series featured this subassembly this prominently, and I think its prominence here would go on to inspire the following sets that reused this element. Immediately following Rock Raiders' departure in 2000, we would see 3 sets use it again in 2001. A childhood favorite of mine, 7316 Excavation Searcher, would use a pair of Rock Raiders lamps fairly overtly on the drive section of the walker. The colors have been changed, but the intention remains. Released the same year, 6774 Alpha Team ATV makes great use of this lamp design on its submersible craft. This isn't the only element of this set that owes its design roots to Rock Raiders, but that's another tale for another time. Lastly, 7126 Battle Droid Carrier interestingly features a single Rock Raiders lamp, rather than the pairs we've seen most elsewhere. It's a unique quirk to this strange little set, but I dig it. The Rock Raiders lamp would return the following year within 4792 Alpha Team Navigator and ROV. By the way, notice how TV reuses the lights found on that submarine back in Aquazone? That's a nice touch. Agent Cam must have been single-handedly carrying the torch for Rock Raiders, because when she inexplicably disappeared in 2004's soft reboot of Alpha Team, so did the Rock Raiders lamp. Before she left us, however, we would see it used rather unexpectedly in 2003's LEGO Spider-Man. 4850 Spider-Man's First Chase features these lamps attached to the Keep Out sign up above. And as quickly as it appeared, the Rock Raiders lamp vanished once more. We'd catch glimpses of it from time to time in a 2/3 combination here and there. 7636 Combine Harvester uses some of the pieces for a similar purpose, but it's just not the same thing. 8059 Seabed Scavenger from LEGO Atlantis featured the closest thing we'd see to the Rock Raiders lamp for more than a decade. This build substituted the transparent pips for an additional transparent dish. It's a cool design in its own right, but it's not an exact match. It wouldn't be until 2021 that the Rock Raiders lamp would return to LEGO, and it appeared in a rather unexpected place: LEGO Friends. 41446 Heart Lake City Vet Clinic was not a set I'd expect to feature the Rock Raiders lamp, yet here it is. All 3 elements in the correct combination used in the correct way. We actually almost had a perfect match in this set's predecessor, 3188 Heart Lake Vet from 2012, but it would take another 11 years to try again. Since then, I've only spotted a single set to make use of the Rock Raiders lamp, and it warms my heart somewhat to know that it was done as an intentional callback. Remember that weird LEGO Star Wars set we covered that conspicuously featured a single lamp on it? Well, in 2024, they made it again. Complete with all the modern bells and whistles you'd expect from a recent release, this remake keeps true to the original in a lot of meaningful ways. Most importantly for our purposes here, it brings back the single Rock Raiders lamp that adorned its inspiration. I love that the set designer recognized this was an important trademark of the original set. Another cute callback is the use of green rail plates. LEGO Star Wars designers were always trying to hide colorful pieces in and among the grays in those early days, and I really appreciate that playfulness replicated here. So far, the story of the Rock Raiders lamp ends in 2024, but I always keep my eyes open for high adventure deep underground. Thanks for watching, everyone. I tried my best to account for every notable appearance of the Rock Raiders lamp in this video, but it's entirely possible that I missed some. Let me know if you've spotted it out there in the wild. This video was brought to you by the folks who support me during the Summer of Slug, especially those subscribed to my Only Slugs tier on Patreon. Folks like GoGCI, who has made some pretty cool alternate builds over on Rebrickable, including some for Rock Raiders. Their latest creation, an alternate build for the Rock Raiders HQ set, is definitely worth a look. Busy Rumble, who asked me to describe the final wave of power miners in one word. Upon careful consideration, I think the best word to describe it is blue. Bycanon, who describes themselves as Ogle's #1 henchman and Toalewa's #1 fan. They also want to say hi from the past to their kids in the future, once they're old enough to enjoy our Slugger's videos. That's so cute. I love it. Shake, who briefly held the My LEGO Network Rank 2 any percent tool-assisted no cache reset raw cursor input world record from April 1st, 2008 to April 2nd, 2008. Very impressive. Veg Garbo, who is the world's most prolific JoJo's Bizarre Adventure mock designer, mostly because no one else really does it. To be continued. White Noise, who is a big fan of LEGO Racers 1, and less of a fan of LEGO Racers 2. I personally couldn't agree more. Why would you take the perfect power-up system and the catchiest theme song and just get rid of them for the sequel? Like, it makes no sense. I don't understand. Farah, who suspects that one day they will be buried alive by an avalanche of toy spaceships and possibly robots. Farah, I know the feeling. To be buried alive. Buried alive. Karn! Karn! These folks and many more deserve our thanks for making the Summer of Slug a reality. If you'd like to pitch in and show your support, the links are in the video description. I've been your host, R.R. Slugger, and I'll see you next time for another video.